Okay, hi, my name is Bert de Groot. I initiated the conference not too long ago. Sorry, I prepared a little speech to introduce Patrick. This is the second edition. So the last edition we had 16 people, some familiar faces around here. Today we expect more than 50 people coming to this conference, to this little meetup. So this really little conference that we might have in the future. Yeah. So I'm standing here in two nice cameras. Of course, we will not record any of you, so don't worry about it. We will make sure that you will not be recorded in any way. We even made sure that the mirror was not visible. So I would like to thank Stijn, Ramon, Roy, Ron, and Jeffrey for helping out, because yeah, they try to make it very professional. So thank you very much. And then some more about Eindhoven. Apparently there used to be some Bitcoin meetups in the past here, but they have all faded away. And we are standing here next to a company that's called ASML, which is the manufacturer of most machines that actually build chips for our entire planet. And what you see is that these chips are used a lot in Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, the Netherlands goes up. And that's something that is directly linked to ASML. So we should not forget that this has a huge positive impact. But we have two choices with all these chips that enter our lives, and that's either freedom or dystopia. And Bitcoin will bring freedom. And that's what we hope to achieve, and that's also what we will show here for the people that don't have Lightning wallets yet. You can ask anyone here to help you out and pay with Lightning to experience pure freedom and also to see what digital cash can do for you. Patrick has seen the light of this freedom money already for over a decade ago. And he will present you how he has been able to build a company in the Netherlands that is making Bitcoin payments accessible for merchants for already more than a decade. And there have been a lot of struggles, and there has been a lot of ups and downs. And he's going to tell us a bit more about this. And listen well, because you might be able to use this information across the globe. That's why we record this also, on how to build a Bitcoin community and do Bitcoin payments in a proper way. So Patrick, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Bert, please bear with me for just a second. Besides that, I'm the starter of Arnhem Bitcoin City together with a few friends. I'm also the chairman of a Dutch branch organization for Dutch Bitcoin companies called the Verenigde Bitcoinbedrijven Nederland. And but I decided to do something else and to resign from this position. And we were looking with this corporation who could follow up me as a chairman of this association. And there came like 15 people who were interested in this position. And I'm very happy to say that Bert will follow me up as a chairman from the Dutch branch organization for Dutch Bitcoin companies. So,
thank you.
Congratulations, Bert. So, yeah, that's just a short news item that I would like to make. And of course, it was very recently that, I believe just yesterday, that the court in Rotterdam ruled out that the Dutch Bitcoin companies won their legal case against the Dutch regulator called DNB, the Dutch Central Bank. So yeah, that's quite a thing that we accomplished with the association, and yeah, I'm very happy that Bert will continue this road for the VBNL. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you, Patrick, for all these years, because there was not a group of Bitcoin companies when you started. So you were at the start of this whole movement where we professionalized a payments and Bitcoin industry in the Netherlands, where we are actually quite far internationally. So thank you for all the hard work that you have put in the
You're
past
welcome.
years.
Okay, thank
So-
you. Okay, so now I'm gonna start with the actual presentation that I prepared. I see a lot of people in the back of this venue. Maybe there are chairs over here and maybe over here. Might be much easier if you come a little bit closer. I won't bite. I won't ask any questions. Well, maybe a few, by the way. But okay. So yeah, I will tell you about Arnhem Bitcoin City. Some of you know, some of you probably don't know. But in Arnhem, you can pay with Bitcoin at over 50 merchants, cafes, restaurants, shops, and pay with Bitcoin. And it started 10 years ago, almost now. So. But before I continue with this presentation, I would like to know, are there any people who have not really dug into the Bitcoin technical stuff and who are actually more interested in how Bitcoin is working instead of me talking about Bitcoin acceptance in Arnhem? Which one of you have already gained some knowledge about Bitcoin? Okay, that's like the vast majority of them. But there are still a few people who didn't raise their hand. So if you're interested in more of the technical stuff about how Bitcoin works, how you can get it, how you can use it, then please ask somebody over here. We'll be here until far beyond 8 o'clock because another presentation will be then. So yeah, use this this occasion to gain more knowledge about Bitcoin, because I won't talk too much about how Bitcoin works. Actually, I won't talk at all about how Bitcoin works. I do a lot of those presentations, but not today. So today I'm only going to talk about Bitcoin in Arnhem and what we did. So yeah, a bit of a personality show, but okay, let's just see if I can keep you interested. We started it with 3 persons, myself, Patrick, Annette and Rogier. We are friends since before high school even, I guess. And yeah, I will tell you about how we started with Arnhem Bitcoin City. The way how I want to do this is by just showing some sort of a photo album that I would like to show, because I can do a lot of bullet points on a PowerPoint presentation, but nobody wants to see that. So I just guessed maybe it would be more interesting if I show you some photos of the past years since 2014 when we started this project. So, how it all started. Like probably with everyone of you who raised their hand just a few seconds ago, there was one friend who asked the question in our friend community, maybe we should check out Bitcoin. And yeah, that's how we got into the rabbit hole and we dug deeper into it. And the more questions we asked about the technical stuff of Bitcoin, the more amazing answers we got from the available information on the internet at that time. And we realized, okay, this is such an awesome technology. It will become much bigger than it is today. So we started thinking, well, maybe we should do something about it with it. So the first thing I did was I was still working at an IT company. I have a background in IT. And at that company, we had on Wednesday evening always some sort of a knowledge exchange evening, where somebody would give a presentation about a subject which would be relevant for a job. Well, Bitcoin was not that relevant for most of the people in their job, but it was still a technical thing and people were interested in it, so I was allowed to do a presentation about Bitcoin at that company, where, yeah, I think maybe 50 or 40 of my colleagues were interested in hearing that stuff. And I dug really deep into the technical stuff, and it was yeah, quite a well presentation that people liked. And we thought, I did it together with Rogier, because yeah, he was also, he's even more technical than I am. He studied math and knows a lot about cryptology and that sort of stuff. So I brought him along and together we did this presentation. And in 2013, we read an article in, I guess, maybe something like the Algemeen Dagblad or a Dutch newspaper. And it was an article about this guy. And this guy is named Jörg Platzer. And he lived in Kreuzberg in Berlin, in Germany. And he had a bar. And he was accepting Bitcoin at that bar in 2013 already. And that bar, the name is Room 77, and it became later on some sort of a venue where every Bitcoiner from all over the world had to be there sometime in their life. So there was a lot of Bitcoin people meeting there, and for instance, the guy who developed the first Bitcoin wallet, which you could use on your mobile phone, Andreas Schildbach, was also one of the frequent visitors of this venue. But that article described how Jörg Platzer not only accepted Bitcoin in his own bar, but he was also going down the streets and convinced other merchants in that street to also accept Bitcoin. So there was like a record shop and a barber and all sorts of shops. I don't know how much it was, maybe 8 or something like that. But there was some area where you could actually pay with Bitcoin. And that idea, yeah, that was amazing to us, and we thought, well, why don't we do this in Arnhem? We live in Arnhem. Why don't we just go around? So Rogier and I were having a beer at a terrace, and we thought, okay, what is necessary for us to in order to pay this beer with Bitcoin? And we thought, well, there's software available like BitPay, which you could use at that time, but that software was not very good and not really handy for merchants. And since we're all IT guys, the 3 friends of us, we just decided to write our own software, and that's called Bitkassa. But I will explain more about that later on. So we read this article and thought we should do something like that in Arnhem. So we just said, okay, this presentation that we gave at my work at the time, we can do this in Arnhem for the public, for everyone who's interested in Bitcoin, and we can also get merchants to accept Bitcoin, and we will organize some pub crawl where every Bitcoin user in the Netherlands can go to different shops in Arnhem and pay with Bitcoin for their beers. So we just made some sort of a statement to the local newspapers, and they picked it up. So this was an article from the Gelderlander, a Dutch local newspaper. And we just told them, okay, we're going to start building Arnhem Bitcoin City, and we'll have the first meetup in Arnhem within this week, where people can learn more about Bitcoin. So maybe it's worth an article. And they decided, yeah, that's a cool article. So yeah, that's how we got some media attention for this. So at this first meetups we organized, we did it twice, one in February and one in March. There were like 70 people combined together, so like 35 per evening, which was located in the city center of Arnhem at an IT company of friends of ours, which we could use the venue. So yeah, we started onboarding merchants and explaining Bitcoin to Arnhemmers and people who live in Arnhem. And meanwhile, we were setting up Bitkassa. So we made an appointment with the notary. We went to the Chamber of Commerce and we registered Bitkassa as a company. And yeah, the thing with Bitkassa is that it was necessary in order for merchants to just accept Bitcoin payments from customers and receive euros on their banking account. So our software made it possible for merchants that it was no longer a difference if people would pay with their banking card or with Bitcoin, because the merchant, the shop owners, would get the money on the end of the day on their banking account anyway. So that was a very low barrier for merchants in Arnhem to just start accepting Bitcoin. But still, the first merchant that I entered, Bitcoin, never heard of it. No, it doesn't sound right to me, and I had to move on to the next one, which was on my list. And there were like 5 merchants where nobody was interested in, and I was really thinking, oh God, did we overestimated ourselves, and is this not gonna work? Until finally one shop owner, a cafe Enjoy in Arnhem, yeah, the owner already had some experience with Bitcoin, and he thought it was a great idea. And he also told me, well, maybe you should go to that cafe and that cafe, because those guys are also interested in new stuff, and you'll get a good chance that they will join you. So that's how it started. But there were also merchants where I just went in the shop and told them, yeah, we would like you to accept Bitcoin, and we're going to help you with it. And they looked at me as if I was selling cocaine to them, and they wanted me as soon as possible out of their shop and to never come back again. So yeah, that was a bit of a hassle. But okay, setting up Bitkassa, because we needed a company to exchange the Bitcoins into euros. And yeah, well, one of the first things that you need to do is open a banking account. And just a normal banking, not a loan whatsoever, we were funding it ourselves, just a banking account. Well, that was a bit more difficult than we expected. This was like the reaction of most of the banks that we got. So at first we tried Triodos Bank, because that's a green bank, and we thought, well, it's something that we like, and well, we'll just try it. But we got rejected from this banking account. And from that day on, we thought, okay, we don't have time to fool around anymore, because yeah, applying for a banking account takes like 4 weeks or something before you get your stuff. So after we got rejected by Triodos, we just applied to all the Dutch banks who were actually having business accounts for people. But yeah, the ING got, we received a rejection letter for ING, from Regiobank, from SNS Bank, from Rabobank, and we thought, oh my God, are we not going to get a single banking account? But fortunately, the ABN AMRO was the one, and we were still a bit curious, why does the ABN accept us and none of the other banks? But okay, that's they were accepting us, and that way we could actually continue with our plans. So then came the Bitcoin 2014 conference in Amsterdam, which was like a huge conference in Amsterdam back at the time. I think 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. I'm not really sure of the numbers. And we were just, but there's a small side story. Those letters that you see over here are they were used at the stage of this conference because it was a nice fill-up. But after the conference, those letters needed to move away, and the organization was no longer interested in having those letters. There was one Dutch Bitcoin company, which is called Bitonic, which is actually an acronym of these letters, and they thought, wait, this is nice. So that Bitcoin company bought those letters for a nice price, and they now have those letters in their office. So if you ever visit them, then you can see those letters standing there. But on this conference, we were giving away flyers for, on the 28th of May, we'll open up Arnhem Bitcoin City. Just come around, have some food and beers with other Bitcoin users, and we'll have a splendid time. And just come to Arnhem. So that's what we did. And in the meantime, our software was working. Rogier had developed the software for this for the most of the part. And you can see here a picture from a newspaper where Rogier is paying with Bitcoin at a merchant that is selling sandwiches. We also had the Bitcoin stickers already ready. So what is happening when a customer pays with Bitcoin? The Bitcoins are being paid to Bitkassa, and Bitkassa makes sure that the euro equivalent is being sent to the merchant. So very simple solution, and that's just how Bitkassa works. This is the opening of Arnhem Bitcoin City in 2014. We organized a pub crawl. 15 merchants were accepting Bitcoin at the time, and we had some sort of a competition where people could win a prize, sponsored by Thuisbezorgd, which was the first big online company in the Netherlands that accepted Bitcoin for their payments. And it was just an awesome evening with, I think, 60, 70 people present. Not only from the Netherlands, also from Germany and from the UK. And also, one of the attendees is this guy. Does anybody recognize him? Aaron. Yeah, this is one of the first good journalists of Bitcoin. We already had good contact with him. He had his own news site, Bitcoin news site, in Dutch language at that time. Coincourant was the name. And each time when a new Arnhem merchant started accepting Bitcoin, we could send Aaron a photo, and he would publish it on Coincourant, and it was a great time. So that's how we started it. We also managed to get a Bitcoin ATM at one of the cafes in Arnhem for this evening, and of course we had sponsors ready. You'll see Bitonic again, who was one of the sponsors of this event, but also this other company. Does anyone know what Bitplaats is? No, Bitplaats is it's actually from Brabant, so from Veghel, but Anycoin Direct. This is the first name they went into public with in the Netherlands, and later on they changed it to an English name. And people actually were making selfies with the Bitcoin ATM. This guy, Martijn Wismeijer, he completely fell in love with ATMs, and he started his own ATM business called General Bytes. He didn't start it, but he was joining them, and he's still active with the Bitcoin ATMs until this day. So this was all the opening evening of Arnhem Bitcoin City, which was just a very good time. It gained some publicity. More news sites and local news interviewed us about Arnhem Bitcoin City. There were also other projects like in Amsterdam who were doing the same thing like we did in Arnhem. There was some sort of a competition between Arnhem and Amsterdam who could get the most merchants to accept Bitcoin. I have to say that the guys in Amsterdam unfortunately did not have the long breath that we have in Arnhem, because at that time everybody was thinking, okay, Bitcoin is going to explode, and we were thinking it as well. A lot of people will be paying in Bitcoin in a few years, but yeah, we overestimated that part of our business model a bit. So yeah, we're still doing this, but yeah, business-wise, it's not like very much people are paying with Bitcoin. One other thing that we did is that we came in contact with the local university in Arnhem, and we accomplished that the new students who were taking a course in a technical course got some Bitcoins from the university to spend in the Arnhem Bitcoin City at their introduction week. So there's always one evening in the introduction week where they can explore the city. And well, the university gave them a small amount of Bitcoins. And we also posted a post on Reddit to get some extra funds for those students, because from the university they only got €3 of Bitcoin. But actually from the people who read this Reddit post, a lot of donations came in, which we were allowed to just give away to the students. And yeah, this is like the moment where I gave in a single transaction all the Bitcoins to all the students who had filled in a form. And just at the start of this introduction evening for them, so they could use the Bitcoin. This is filmed by VPRO Tegenlicht, Backlight in English. There's a nice documentary which also contains Roger Ver. Not really sure if he's crying in that documentary. Nearly, I believe. Something like, yeah.
I have to file if somebody wants it.
Yeah. So it's a nice documentary about. Sorry?
How much Bitcoin are we talking about?
Yeah. So we did this twice, and we were planning on doing this in 2016 again. But some of the organizers of this student introduction week, they thought we were nagging about Bitcoin, didn't understand it. They didn't feel like doing it again. Well, actually, the university itself was positive about it, but yeah, those students organized it was not so positive, and they said, yeah, you need to get them on board if you want to continue it, and yeah, we failed in that. But at that time, the students got like 11, 12 euros of Bitcoin. And later on, people emailed me that they had some voucher which they could claim on the Bitkassa website. So we knew what their Bitcoin address was, so we could make a transaction to their wallet. And then, like years later, people would still come up with these vouchers because they still wanted those Bitcoins they got. Because those Bitcoins they turned into 1,200, 1,300 euros per student. So yeah, that was a small side story of that. So that was one of the things that we did in order to gain, to get people to actually use Bitcoin. In the end of 2014, the local supermarket, the Spar, was convinced that it might be a good idea to just start accepting Bitcoin. And that was like a major event for Arnhem, because until that time, a lot of people were thinking, yeah, Bitcoin, it's nice, but as long as I cannot pay my groceries with it, it's just like monopoly money, I don't get it. And now you could actually pay your groceries at a normal supermarket in the Netherlands, and yeah, that gained a lot of publicity. So I remember that I was also in the BNR Nieuwsradio studio with Herbert Blankenstein, who was not having the Cryptocast at the time, but just his the tech, what's it show called? Technoloog, exactly. And he invited me, and we were, I was just talking about Bitcoin, and I had this scoop for BNR that actually now the Spar was also accepting Bitcoin. And then suddenly Herbert was, okay, thank you, Patrick, and now we're going on, and that was the end of the show. And I didn't mention the scoop. I had no media experience whatsoever, and there was just, oh my God, I forgot to mention that the Spar is now accepting Bitcoin. So that's a funny thing. But a lot of people actually, because we're also releasing notes to the press about this. And yeah, this is like, I think, the NOS, the NOS filming in the Spar, because the day after we announced that you could pay with Bitcoin at the Spar, the local Spar owner had to simply clear his complete agenda, because there was a massive media attention from radio stations, from television companies, who would actually come and film at the Spar, because yeah, you could now pay with Bitcoin at the Spar. So it was like a major thing. Yeah, just not only the video and radio press, but also the writing press. So in the Netherlands, Nu.nl published an article about it, but it's also picked up in Germany, in Italy, in Romania, in Turkey, and even in China. They were interested that you could actually pay with Bitcoins at the Spar supermarket in Arnhem. And then 2015. Otto de Voogd was living in Estonia at the time, and he was running a Bitcoin exchange, but he ran into some problems with the local authorities, and he he wanted to get out of Estonia because they were not treating him fairly, and he was having a lot of discussion with them. So Otto is Dutch, but he lived in Estonia, and he was looking for a new place to live, and he thought, well, he picked up also our news items, and he thought, well, maybe Arnhem is a nice place to live. They seem like a lot Bitcoin friendlier than Estonia at the time. So Otto joined us, and actually Otto was able to rent his home from Rogier, who was just moving away and still had his own house. And he could pay his rent, of course, with Bitcoin to Rogier. So Otto was living the ultimate Bitcoin dream. He could pay for everything in Arnhem with Bitcoin, and even pay his mortgage, not a mortgage, but his rent in Bitcoin. So also one of the things, the gas station was starting to accept Bitcoin, which is a nice thing, because you could now pay for your gas with Bitcoin. And yeah, the next big thing was the Burger King accepting Bitcoin in 2016. And we had to discuss with not only the Dutch headquarters, but also from the pan-European headquarters of the Burger King, if we were allowed to publish a news item about the Bitcoin, the Burger King in Arnhem accepting now Bitcoins. But we managed to do that, and yeah, also gained some publicity. The Bitcoin owner of this, the owner of this Bitcoin venue, of a Burger King venue, decided that everybody who would pay with Bitcoin would also get a free Whopper extra. So that was a nice deal. Yeah, and yeah, it was quite some folks who were paying with Bitcoin at the time at the Burger King. This is just some images. We also organized a meetup at the Burger King in Arnhem quickly after that. And there were people from Korea actually coming to Arnhem to pay their Whopper with Bitcoin. So it was a nice thing. Then in 2016, we thought, okay, what's the next thing we're going to do? We're going to organize a conference in Arnhem, and we invited some of I think the best speakers at that time, Rick Velkvinge, Ricardo Spagni, who's by the way, Rick Velkvinge is the founder of the Pirate Party in Sweden. Ricardo Spagni was the main developer of Monero. Peter Todd is like, he also helped developing Bitcoin, but he's also very active on Twitter still about Bitcoin. Manfred Karrer is the founder of Bisq, the first decentralized Bitcoin exchange. And of course, Jörg Platzer, the guy from Berlin who started it over there. So it was a nice lineup, and yeah, it was just a fun conference which we organized in the movie theater at the Korenmarkt at the time. That movie theater no longer exists, by the way. There's now a restaurant over there. Then 1 year later, we thought, okay, this conference was a blast, but we're not going to do this every year because it was just costing very much energy. We were still working, and we had to do everything in the evening and in the weekend. So we thought, okay, we'll skip this year. But we got a call from a group of people called Bitcoin Unlimited that they wanted to organize their Meetly conference, and their people told the organizers, well, no, we don't want to do it in Paris or in Prague or in London. Why don't we do it in Arnhem? Because it seems like a far more Bitcoin-friendly city. So we thought, okay, we're not going to organize this ourselves, but if somebody else wants to organize a Bitcoin conference in Arnhem, sure, let's have them. We'll help them search for a venue and other stuff. So yeah, that's when the Future of Bitcoin was organized in 2017. What we did not realize, or what we did not know at the time, was that this conference was the kickoff for the forking of Bitcoin Cash. So a lot of people had some opinion about Arnhem after this conference because they thought we were on the Bitcoin Cash side or whatever. We didn't know actually that this was going to happen, and we were surprised that it was. It also had people from like Jameson Lopp present and other people. But yeah, I think in hindsight, I guess the main thing for this conference was the kickoff of Bitcoin Cash. So this was in 2017, where I was introduced as like the mayor of Arnhem Bitcoin City and held some welcome speech to everybody at the time. So that's our role. We were not in charge of the people or the schedule of this conference. So I hope I cleared this up for a lot of people. But later on, in 2017, another problem occurred. The mempool got quite full, and what you see over here is the average transaction fee that people were paying with their Bitcoin transactions. Remember, there was no Lightning Network at that time. Every payment was on-chain. So when people paid their groceries at the Spar using, for instance, Bread Wallet was not very clear in how much fee you would pay for your groceries. And people didn't notice that for their $15 of groceries, they were actually paying $30 of fee. So that was, that was really killing for Arnhem Bitcoin City. We simply had to stop it and tell the merchants, okay, we have to close down this idea, because people are either getting very angry about the fees they're paying, or they don't know about it. A question?
In your model, who was paying the fee, the merchant, or it was, how did it work?
This is the general Bitcoin topic, but how it works is that when somebody pays with Bitcoin using their wallet, the one who pays also for the fees, and the fees are being received by the miners who are mining those transactions into blocks. So that's that. But so for the merchants it was not really a problem, but we noticed that some people were not getting clear that they were, and some were actually noticing that they were paying and were emailing us, well, what the fuck is this? And so we just had to stop that. But that's a really unfortunate time. It was really because we worked so hard for this, and then suddenly, yeah, we had to stop and with Arnhem Bitcoin City. So we emailed the merchants, okay, we cannot continue this, and yeah, that explains this spike downwards in the graph, which you can see on the Arnhem Bitcoin City website. We publish actual statistics about how much payments are being done each month. So, and later on in February, the mempool cleared again and we could continue with it. But still, there was no Lightning Network. And then, later on in 2018, the Lightning Network became available on mainnet. And yeah, at first, people could only use the Lightning Network from their desktop PCs. There were no mobile wallets in the beginning. And then Eclair launched their first mobile wallet, or how are those guys called from Eclair? Somebody? Async, yes, exactly. Async launched their first mobile wallet named Eclair. And I tested this wallet because I thought, okay, this is the solution. But remember that we were in some sort of a deadlock situation. We were, in the meantime, preparing Bitcaster to accept altcoins, because yeah, it was either stop with this at all or do something else. So we were building to accept Litecoin and even Bitcoin Cash. We didn't finish it, but we were working on it. And then we tested it with the Lightning Network. And this was my first test. I got a lot of negative experiences from this in our test environment, and I thought, okay, I cannot publish this to merchants, because if a merchant accepts Bitcoin, he is already on the brink of should I do it or should I do it not? Because yeah, what's in it for him? And if it gets a lot of trouble with customers trying to pay, then that's a really bad experience. So we decided, okay, we cannot roll this out in Arnhem. This is another screenshot from this wallet where you can see successful payment, failed, successful, failed, successful, failed, 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 successful. This was just testing history for me, and it was not really working at the time. But then in 2019, Joost Jager, actually an old friend of us, which we knew since back in 1994, I guess, suddenly popped up in the Bitcoin space, and he was working for Lightning Labs at the time, and he told us, well, maybe you should check it out again, because it's really improved at that time, in the meantime. So really check it out again. So we did a secondary test, and yeah, it was quite working quite well. Well, maybe sometimes there was not a route or something, but it was doable. So we launched Bitcaster with Lightning Network adoption, so people could now choose whether they pay on-chain or with Lightning when they paid at a merchant. So the first time where we actually made it publicly available for everybody was at the 22 May Pizza Day, where a lot of people came to our meetup in Arnhem and paid for their pizzas with Bitcoin over the Lightning Network. This is Joost Jager, this is Peter Slachter and Bert Slachter, and there are lots of other people who came to this meetup. So we also published what this would do with how many people would pay with Lightning and how many people would pay on-chain. The dark green is on-chain and the light green is Lightning. And you can see that people were lagging. They were still using on-chain, but there was a majority coming who would actually use Lightning payments over here. So, yeah, it was going the right way, I'd say. And at that time, Arnhem Bitcoin City was like at the best state we had, I guess. There were like 120 merchants accepting Bitcoin. Even the church was accepting Bitcoin. You could go, it's not being used for religious purposes anymore. But you can go into the elevator, into to the top of the church, have a nice view over Arnhem, and pay with Bitcoin. And a lot of other stuff.
That's the government accepting Bitcoin, right?
No, that's not the government. That's a different.
The city of Arnhem who operates the church?
Might be true. Yes, that might be true. Yeah. In hindsight, yeah, I believe it's a stichting, but yeah, it's absolutely funded by the government for that.
That's a nice newspaper article.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we did some newspaper articles about this thing. But actually, there was another thing that we also tried to convince, of course, the local government to accept Bitcoin. How cool would it be if you could just pay for your passport with Bitcoin? We were this close in making this happen in Arnhem. We had good contact with the local city council, but it took 2 persons to fiat this decision. And one of them had agreed to it to make it happen. And the other one thought, no, we cannot do this at the moment. We're too busy with other things, and let's not make it extra complex for our employees. We should not do this. So therefore, we didn't do it. And Zug in Switzerland was actually the first one who made it happen that you could pay for your passport with Bitcoin. So yeah, we're still a bit sad about that thing. Then came 2020. Yeah, that was not so good for Arnhem. You could not go into a cafe anymore and or have a drinks in a restaurant. Thank you. So yeah, this is a terrible thing for Arnhem Bitcoin City. Most of the merchants were busy surviving. They were not interested in Bitcoin site stuff anymore, and they were just too hardworking in order to keep their company alive. So that had a downside on Arnhem Bitcoin City, of course, which you can see, yeah, over here. This period where some shops were open where you could pay with Bitcoin, but yeah, it was just some sort of a dead city for most of the lockdown periods, of course, just like Eindhoven and lots of cities in the world. So that explains why, yeah, this flat line over here was happening at the time. If Corona was not enough yet, the Netherlands was also hit by new legislation. AMLD 5 came from Europe and was put into practice in the Netherlands in the WWFT, and which meant that all Dutch Bitcoin companies, including Bitkassa, because we were not only having this merchant service, we were also redirecting people to our website where they could buy and sell Bitcoins at our website. Actually, that was the main revenue of Bitkassa, because the payment service was completely free. We thought about, well, maybe we can ask for a small fee for each payment, but there were far too less payment to make it a reasonable revenue. And we decided to keep it completely free in order to lower the burden for merchants to just accept Bitcoin. That was the main thing for us, making sure that Bitcoin would be as much accepted as possible. But because we were also exchanging the Bitcoins to euros for also those merchants, yeah, that had a great impact into Bitkassa and Arnhem Bitcoin City. This is one article from this time, which is really recent right now because of the judge case, the court case that was published yesterday. Yeah, we were being lied to by Wopke Hoekstra. not the prime, the minister of finance at the time, and they cracked down Bitcoin companies far too much in the Netherlands. And well, Bitkassa decided, okay, we cannot pay the fee that we had to pay to the Dutch Central Bank in order to operate the conversion service again. So we just stopped doing the conversion, but we were allowed to just continue our service as long as we did not convert Bitcoins into euros again for merchants. But what was the case? A lot of merchants since 2014 had already contacted us and asked us, well, maybe I would like to keep the Bitcoins myself. I see them rising in value almost every year. I'd like to keep the Bitcoins myself. So that was like for 25% of the merchants, they were already accepting Bitcoin and keeping the Bitcoins for themselves. For the other 75%, we were converting it into euros. So now only 25% of the merchants were still accepting Bitcoin, but this was also a large trigger for most of the merchants. Okay, from now on, we will just keep the Bitcoins ourselves and still accept Bitcoin. But for other merchants, like the gas station, they decided, okay, this is too much of an administrative hassle for us. We just cannot do this. We have to stop accepting Bitcoin. So we lost a lot of merchants at the time. And yeah, this is just a new way that we were only allowed to operate. People could still pay Bitcoin over Lightning or on-chain, and we would send the Bitcoins to the wallet of the merchant, which would be a ledger, a Trezor, or an account at an exchange, whatever they want. Yeah, and this is also nearly the end of my talk. But today you can still pay with Bitcoin at over 50 or 60 merchants in Arnhem. And yeah, remember that every merchant is keeping the Bitcoins themselves in their wallet. So in the past we had some comments about people, well, if I pay at a merchant, then those Bitcoins get instantly converted into euros, so I should not exchange them. I should not pay with them. That's not a valid excuse anymore. Actually, I've also wrote an article about why you should pay with Bitcoin, and just a small example for why it is a good thing, even if you believe that the Bitcoin price will rise, because that's the common argument I hear. Well, I think Bitcoins are going to rise in value. Why should I use them to buy things? My reaction is, don't sell any of your Bitcoin stack which you have in a cold wallet and you're planning on for your pension or whatever. Leave them where they are. Just, if you now pay for your groceries, you will probably pay them with your banking card or with fiat money anyway. If you just convert some extra bit of that fiat money into Bitcoin, and you use those Bitcoins whenever you can to pay for your groceries, you will even gain from the value rise of Bitcoin while they are still in your wallet. And that's actually what happened to me for instance, at the gas station where I paid with Bitcoin. I made a wallet especially for my gas station payments. And what happened is, whenever I paid at the gas station and that wallet was empty, I just refilled it again with like 500 euros or something like that, so I could get 10 gas fill-ups again at that time. Not anymore. So, but it happened to me that when I opened my wallet to pay at the gas station, I saw, okay, there's like 300 euros still left in it. And the next time when I came into that gas station, I opened my wallet, there's like 350 euros left in this wallet. So, okay, I paid again. And the next time I opened this wallet, there was still 350 euros in this wallet. So this is a way how you can actually use Bitcoin and not lose any of your Bitcoin stack which you have in cold money. If I had just paid the gas station with euros, I would have lost money this way. The opposite is also true. Bitcoin sometimes also devaluates in wallet, and then you have to refill your wallet again. But if you think that in the long run, Bitcoin will rise in value, you're doing a good job in doing it like I just told you for now. And yeah, the best thing about this, if people actually see you paying at a gas station, at a grocery station, if you for flowers, whatever, if I go in Arnhem and I pay for flowers for whoever I want to buy flowers for, then, and somebody is behind. Okay, this sounds really dubious. Let's say my wife. But if somebody is behind me and sees me paying with Bitcoin, there's always a discussion. Oh, can you pay with Bitcoin over here? And oh wow, and I didn't know you could do that here. And people are getting a very positive sign of Bitcoin, because most of the news you read about Bitcoin is negative. So you can actually do something positive about the image of Bitcoin when using it for ordinary things. And that's actually what we try to do in Arnhem. So yeah, I suggest do this if you understand how to do it. You need to have a Lightning wallet nowadays, but there are a lot of people over here who can explain to you how a Lightning wallet works, how you can get some Bitcoins from an exchange into a Lightning wallet and just use them for ordinary payments.
Is Bitcoin Lightning only now?
Not yet. We're just like a few weeks away from making it Lightning. Maybe just 1 week away from just making it Lightning only. Yeah. Then the Bitcoin pub quiz. We've done this 3 times now again. The first time there were like 15 people going around. The second time was last year, and there were like, I think, 40, 50 people around. And this year is going to be big, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to fit into this cafe. We're going to use the same cafe again. It's an awful place, an awesome place. That's really awesome. But there's a big screen where I'll put up the questions. There will be questions from a lot of people. If you're interested in Bitcoin and you don't have any family obligations on December 27th, then please come to Arnhem and learn a lot about Bitcoin and have a fun time with a lot of people. So another thing is that we're in May. It's the 10th anniversary of our Arnhem Bitcoin City. We will, of course, celebrate it. We still need to work on how we're going to do this, but in May there will be something done in Arnhem which will be quite cool, I guess. So if you would like to know more about this, you can register at the Arnhem Bitcoin City at the newsletter. We will publish, of course, information about it, and then we'll make another great event over then. That's it, guys. Thank you for your attention.
Everyone, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll come to you, because we have a microphone here, and then it can be recorded also.
Not in the film, yeah?
Not in the film,
Okay.
but just the voice.
Thanks, Patrick. Question. It seemed quite easy to get the merchants onboarded at the start because they were getting the next evening the euros, or the same day they were getting euros. And you said at the end that at the end they were like 25% of the merchants were saying, I want to keep them in, they want to hodl them.
Yeah.
So how does that transition take place to, well, I don't want to keep your bitcoins, I just want the euros, to I want to keep the 25% of the merchants say I want to keep them? How did that process work?
Well, of course, merchants were following the news about Bitcoin, and in 2017 you had like a huge spike in the value of Bitcoin, and that was for a lot of merchants the key point, that they thought, okay, why am I still converting this into euros? Those Bitcoins are gaining in value, and to be honest, sometimes I especially when we were no longer allowed to do the conversion, I went, of course, to all the merchants who were still used to getting the Bitcoins converted and explained to them, we cannot do this conversion anymore, but you can keep the Bitcoins. And, well, I've made some sheet where you can see how many Bitcoins you have received in the past and what is the value, the current value of this. And that actually works for a lot of merchants to say, okay, why not give it a try? Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Edward?
Thank you. I'm also curious about, Lightning, of course, is used for small transactions. Are there any merchants, Arnhem Bitcoin City, that also need the transactions for bigger amounts of in one transaction. So is it all small, or are there also some?
Yeah, for the main
some
part,
bigger
it's
transactions?
all small. So I think like the biggest transactions are probably when a group of people are going to a restaurant with 8 people, and yeah, have to pay the bill all at once. So it's like €1,000 max. Probably that rarely happens, by the way. But we also had like a jewelry who was accepting Bitcoin in Arnhem. We technically we made sure that any transaction would be confirmed on the blockchain if they pay there. But there was no one ever paid at the jewelry with Bitcoin. Unfortunately, yeah, a lot of people thought, well, a lot of criminals will go there. Nobody paid with Bitcoin.
And
Over there.
do you believe in the future that Lightning will be used if you're Lightning only? Then it will be only Lightning for also bigger.
Yeah, I think the
amounts.
liquidity in the Lightning Network is getting bigger and bigger again.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think it will be much easier in the future to have bigger transactions over the Lightning network. But for today, I guess the Lightning Network has not enough liquidity for the average usage in Arnhem. So yeah, I don't think that is a problem, of course. But Bitcasa was also helping companies outside of Arnhem, and for instance, a company who was installing solar panels on roofs of buildings. Yeah, they had invoices of €7,000. At that time, that would be a big problem with Lightning. But yeah, I'm not really sure if that would be easy enough in the future, but we'll see.
Interesting. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Another question?
Hey, could you go back to the slide with the graph of all the transactions during the 10 years?
This one?
It's quite. I'm not sure if it's for all of you, but it's quite surprising for me to look at this. I mean, from the start, it already is quite a lot, but it's a bit going down. Do you have an explanation? And also, I don't see the bull markets in this graph. Is
No.
there an explanation for it? How does it?
Well, the bull market, this is the bull market, eh? Where a lot of
Yeah. Okay.
a lot of people were sending on-chain,
that's right.
so I
Okay.
can see it clearly
Well,
over
that
here.
one we can explain.
That's the first blue mark.
Yeah. So no, yeah, it's. I'm also a bit sad that, of course, it's not as much as over here. I would also like it to be bigger and bigger, but yeah, people are not paying with Bitcoin. I think that's the main conclusion.
But
Unfortunately.
they were
but-
doing so.
Yeah, but still, this is
Higher
like
price,
this line is like the €5,000 line. So it's in a month. It's still very small amount. When we started this project, we really thought, well, within 5 years, paying with Bitcoin would be quite normal. Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah. What do you think now? In 10 years, what will? Yeah. You don't have any
I
expectations
don't
anymore.
know.
You just see.
Well, the thing that I just explained, that people are not using Bitcoin for payments, that is the main cause why this is not happening. Because a lot more people now have Bitcoins than back in 2014. But the guys who were active in 2014 were also very passionate about the technology, and were not just buying and selling on Binance for some sort of shitcoin or whatever. So the audience has changed, and yeah, I'm not really sure why not more people are actually using Bitcoin at the moment. I really hope that it will change and that people will start using Bitcoin more. Yeah, store of value.
It says now store of value.
Yeah, it was already a store of value of back then, but yeah, if you say no, I won't, I will never spend my Bitcoins, you are actually saying I will sell my Bitcoins for fiat again once. So yeah. Another question.
Yeah, my last.
The last question.
you're here to inspire others telling your story. And I was curious if someone here living in another city or living in Eindhoven wants to do the same. Is it the same now as back then? Is it still possible to have more merchants use it? Because we know the stories of other countries, of course, but in the Netherlands? Yeah, of course.
of course.
This is, gradually this.
Yeah, of course. I hope in Eindhoven it will get some traction as well. But we've seen a lot of projects like us start up and vanish again. So there is this famous graph of Andrew, I believe, from Galoy, where you could see that Arnhem Bitcoin City is pointed out like the first major Bitcoin community, and then Bitcoin Beach came up, and Bitcoin Ekasi, and all the other projects came from it. But what that graph is missing is that in between there were also a lot of other projects who started, but didn't have the long breadth that we have, and just it vanished again. Like Ghent, for instance, was also having like 20 Bitcoin merchants. Amsterdam was active, but it's still possible. For instance, Zwolle is now trying to do it again, actually with one of my colleagues, Annette, who lives in Zwolle now. And they've also convinced the local Spar supermarket to accept Bitcoin over there in Zwolle. So there are now 2 Spars in the Netherlands where you can pay with Bitcoin. And I hope it really works. I think it's absolutely possible, but you need to have some sort of a community who is actually using Bitcoin for everyday payments.
So giving it more water and a community organizing meetings.
And the best thing is to just go to your own favorite merchant, and then I don't mean like a large retailer like the Primark or something like that, but just a local merchant which you enjoy buying stuff of, and then try to convince him to accept Bitcoin. And then at least he has one customer, and that's important because a lot of the merchants in Arnhem disappeared because their owner changed or whatever, and they never had a single Bitcoin transaction because nobody came there. So that's like a problem that you will have. But if you convince your own favorite merchant, then that's a great startup.
And we have the Bitcoin map, the BTC map.
And of course the BTC map is active, where you can see a lot of places in the whole of the world.
Can I just carry on from Edward's question there? Because there's a couple of people here from MBZO. So we tried in Eindhoven to look into alternative payment systems.
So where are the people from?
MBZO, so it's New Brabant Zuidoost. So we're looking into alternative. There's a money group. We're trying to look into alternative payments. So I joined a year ago and said, guys, do you know this? What you're looking for is already available at Lightning Network. But it's just really difficult to onboard merchants. We onboarded one coffee shop, Kipke, not a coffee shop, but coffee shop.
Coffee shop,
Coffee shop, yeah.
Coffee, okay.
Yeah, but it's just really difficult to onboard merchants. You need some kind of from an idealistic perspective, they need to be onboarded. So it's difficult to find.
It takes a lot of. I've met a lot of people in the past who were, for instance, asking, "Oh, I'd like to convince merchants as well, and maybe they can use Bitkassa as well. Can I get some sort of agreement about fees?" And we had to tell them, sorry, but we're doing this for free. I cannot pay for any revenue or something like. You know what? You can get the full revenue we get from this because we're not making any. But that's something a thing of a problem. It's hard to convince merchants to accept Bitcoin. The way I did it in the past and still are doing it is because I told them, well, we're gonna put Arnhem on the map as an innovative city with a project called Bitcoin City. And we'll get a lot of merchants in Arnhem to accept Bitcoin. And for instance, at the opening, we just told them, okay, you have a cafe, and we'd like to come here with a lot of people, let's say 40 or 50 people, and we want to have some drinks and maybe food over here. But the thing is, they want to pay with Bitcoin. And we've also had a solution where you can use Bitkassa and still receive euros in the banking account. So that's the easy way to start. But the different part from back then is, and the harder part back then was, Bitcoin had a far more negative image than nowadays, because nowadays everybody knows a nephew who has some Bitcoins or who's using Bitcoins. While back then people only knew it from Silk Road, or crypto lockers, or another bad experience, and so that really changed in the years, I guess. Yeah. Other questions? Anyone from there again?
Yeah, so I've convinced 3 small local shops to take sets.
Cool.
And I'm always aiming at getting more, but I've convinced them to take them off the books. So they just install a Lightning wallet, and I'm the customer who pays them, outside of the books.
Yeah.
So next step is, next time I walk in that shop, I tell them, hey guys, I know this guy at Bitkassa. You can start doing it for all your customers. What does it look like if one of us finds a shop who's interested in accepting Bitcoin?
Well, I'm not sure how they are accepting Bitcoin at the moment. Which software do they use?
A Lightning wallet, phone wallet, so they just keep this. They don't need fiat.
Then there's no need for Bitkassa to use, unless you have a lot of employees. Then it's easier to use software like Bitkassa, because the employees can then just open the Bitkassa page, and the amount will be sent to the wallet of the merchants. Where the employees don't have access to the wallet.
And if the amount of transactions would start increasing, more and more customers want to pay in Bitcoin, then they cannot book all those transactions out of the books.
Yeah.
Then they need Bitkassa as well, right?
Bitkassa is also handy, because you get some Excel sheets which you can download of all the payments that you've had. But for me, I actually, some merchants were also questioning me about this, but I always convince them to just make sure that they put it in the books, because the thing is, I want to put Bitcoin on the legal side of everything. Yeah, I don't want to run into trouble, of course, with a lot of lawmakers. And the negative image of Bitcoin is the part that I wanted to get rid of. So I just told them how they could actually do the administrative part of it with it. So yeah, that's my approach. A question from the back? Sorry, I will get to you.
I would like to have your opinion about the fact if Bitcoin eventually becomes a recognized asset class. Why would you sell your Bitcoin if we live in a fiat system and I can borrow against it?
Well, borrowing against it would not be my thing, but...
But why not? Like, for example, if you assume that my children, I buy the Bitcoins now for my children, Bitcoin gets valuable in time.
Yeah.
They will never sell their Bitcoin, just own it, take a specific time of whatever the moment is that the
like 18 years or something like that.
Yeah, let's say the interest rate is low, you have like 2-3% interest rate, you borrow against it, buy a house, rent it out, and just build on your wealth position instead of selling. More or less the greatest opportunity you have.
Have you heard about FTX?
We have heard about FTX, but that's not the point. Like,
but that's how this scheme works.
But that's like on a DeFi platform. But if it becomes a real asset class, like if the ETF trust becomes live and the banks recognize it, they actually probably would like to use it as a leverage to open up the monetary system.
But the thing is, not your keys, not your Bitcoin.
No, okay, but just your opinion. My keys, my coins.
If you loan out your Bitcoin to somebody else, then you may pray that you'll get them back one day. But I would not recommend that.
No, of course, no. But if it becomes recognized, maybe they come up with a platform where you can actually prove that you own them. The same as if you have gold and silver, you can prove it that you have it stored in Switzerland, for example.
Yeah, sure. If the other party thinks that owning the Bitcoin keys is not necessary, then yeah, sure, loan them out to them and tell them you just have them, and or is it just like a collateral?
Yeah, like
just like collateral.
Yeah, of course, like a collateral. You're not gonna loan your own. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe sure. Yeah. But the thing is, it's quite hard to prevent that two people are actually using the same Bitcoin as collateral. So yeah, I see something
But
about
you actually
that.
feel more that the future is gonna be that people are gonna pay each other with Bitcoin, and we're gonna lose a little bit of the fiat system, or is Bitcoin gonna?
Well, the way I see it going at the
fiat.
moment,
Yes.
unfortunately, is not that way. Like the FTX example and other platforms, people are still. The majority of people who own Bitcoin don't have the keys. They are trusting other parties with the Bitcoin, and I think that's a risk in the long run. The whole idea of Bitcoin is that you can fully contain the Bitcoin yourself, and you don't have to trust anyone else. But that's not really what the majority of people are doing at the moment. But then again, the majority of people are not interested in Bitcoin at all. They are just interested in gaining more euros by trading Bitcoin. So yeah, that's a thing. But I hope people will learn on the long run that Bitcoin actually has far more value than just the price in euros. Thank you for the question. There was another question.
I was thinking maybe in 10 years, have you ever had any problems with the technology that maybe there was some money lost from like a payment not getting through?
For instance,
maybe you have some nice examples.
The double spend problem, because we were taking Bitcoins on chain, and there was no Lightning Network, of course. So especially in the time when the memory pool went up again in the end of 2017 and beginning of 2018, a friend of mine actually had no intentions to double spend whatsoever, but he just used Eclair or another wallet, I guess, to pay for his burger at a restaurant in Arnhem. And yeah, we were of course monitoring that transaction. And then we saw that that transaction like 4 weeks later or something like that was still not confirmed. In fact, it was replaced by another transaction because he had, I'm not really sure what he did, but maybe he reinstalled his wallet or whatsoever. Something strange happened, and unintentionally he double spent his own transaction. So yeah, but that actually is like the only case where we run into this problem, fortunately. But yeah, that is a risk. And on the other side, I think the Bitcoin, yeah. At the beginning, the Spar supermarket, for instance, had their own Wi-Fi network. And as my colleague Rogier called it, it's a crippled Wi-Fi network because not all the ports were open. And Bread Wallet was using the Bitcoin ports to communicate. So the people who used Bread Wallet in the Spar supermarket could not pay because Bread Wallet was not connected to other Bitcoin nodes at that time. So
people had to use the Wi-Fi of the Spar to.
Yeah, some people, especially in 2014, people
4G
were,
was, or 2G, whatever.
People were using Wi-Fi if it was available because it saved them some data of their mobile account.
Yeah, some nice anecdotes. Thanks.
Yeah.